everybody, it's your girl Michi G, and welcome back to I Lost My Podcast. Like I said before, if you've never seen me before or this podcast, I am Michi G, author of I Lost My Mom, Now What? Memoir of a Motherless Daughter. So for today's podcast, our special guest is someone who I love dearly, is near and dear to my heart. He is a son, a brother, a friend, my favorite title, husband. And he's also an business owner and CEO or boss of Husky Cheesecakes here in Nashville. So I want to introduce you guys to my husband, Joshua, aka Husky Jefe. But on today's episode, he is going to get transparent about his grief journey and how he... his grief journey with losing not only his best friend, Biscuit, Kelvin Little, but also my mother, because he was a great deal of support for me when I was going through my struggle with losing my mother. So, and I've actually never asked him these questions about losing mom. We never had that conversation. So stay tuned for that conversation as he gives his side of grief as it correlates to those two beautiful angels. All right, stay tuned. All right, hi Josh.
Hello.
Welcome. I want to start by saying thank you for agreeing to be a part of my the I Lost My podcast and sharing your loved one with me and your loved ones rather with me and my platform and my audience. So thank you.
No problem.
Let's start by first introduce yourself and your loved ones that you're going to talk about today.
So I'm Joshua, also known as Husky Jefe. I'm a husband, I'm a business owner. I think I'm sort of a serial entrepreneur in the making. So take that into account. I don't stop creating, I'm a creative. But yeah, that's enough of me. But I'm here today and I feel like I have multiple people that I lost in the recent years. One being my brother from another woman, like my brother Biscuit. Yeah, that was my dog. And of course, my mother-in-law in love, as we say around here. Those was two tough losses that, took a toll on me. So here I am.
All right, so can you explain, aside from your mother in love, obviously, because, you married me, but how did you meet Biscuit?
I met Biscuit, as we call him, Big Biscuit, Kelvin Little. I met him on the campus of my college university, Austin Peay. And to be honest, we met because of our fraternity that we're a part of, I think. Don't know if we would have crossed paths other than that. So, yeah, I met him in school. He was a fraternity brother.
Mm-hmm. So, who was Biscuit? If you could describe him as a person. If nobody ever met Biscuit, for those listening and watching on YouTube or whatever platform, who was Biscuit as a person?
Kelvin, as we said, his government name Kelvin, but as we call him Biscuit. Biscuit was, man, he was a lovable guy. Like, if I only had 3 sisters, as far as like my mom kids. My dad, I had a brother, but he was way much older. I only seen him part-time, but if my mom was to have another son, it would have been Biscuit. I think Biscuit met like, excuse me, I think he met like some of my family at like my graduation stuff, and him and my stepdad, both Cowboy fans, but they talk smack with each other, drink, like he was already like family, like, so who was Kelvin? To sum it up, he was a lovable guy. I'm talking about later on the line, I seen dude, I stayed with him. I seen dude literally like stay up to like 3 a.m. talking smack, playing the game. And if somebody like my brother Tay or somebody said, "Hey, Biscuit, we need your help or something," he right there, no questions asked. And I used to be like, "Bro, you need to get some rest, bro." Like, I don't think that's cool, but bro was just that type of angelic, and he'll help out anybody. So he had a heart of gold. But he was solid now, so don't mess with him because he'll spark off.
Yeah.
But you gotta push him, but he'll spark off.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's your favorite memory with Biscuit that you can think? The first one that comes to mind, or the biggest memory?
Ooh.
And give him the real.
The biggest memory?
Mm-hmm.
Man. It was so many. Like I said, we was fraternity brothers, so we did so much.
So when you think of Biscuit, what comes to mind?
So the biggest memory of my dog. Now, if my boy Tay watches this, I have to call you out because you stood us up and you went back to Clarksville. But to the ones that was there for my birthday,
oh man,
we went down. I gotta be honest, it was kind of mischievous, but you know, things happen, whatever. But we went downtown, or I don't even think it was. I say downtown, but what's the area?
Like the
anyway, it's okay. Well, I don't really want to incriminate myself, but we went down there to kick it at the Hooters, and people came up and drove up to kick it with me for my birthday, and we went to this bar, and somehow we was getting drinks, and somebody tried to say that we got drinks off someone else, but we had no indication or things, and outside of the club, security tried to stop us, and it got real kind of rowdy, but we kept our calm, but it was kind of rowdy, and another frat brother, I don't even know where he came from. He from our chapter, he came up trying to help defuse the situation. We like, where in the freak did you come from? But nevertheless, that was the best memory because it was such a wild night, fun, and all I can remember is him at the end of the scuffle with the security. He told him, I should make you pay for my glasses because you done broke my glasses. But man, that was probably one of the craziest memories. So.
Yes, I remember that night. I was there too. But anyway, so if you could describe for me, so we're going to take a little shift in question. If you could describe for me when the day you lost Biscuit, what did that day look like for you? What were you doing? Where were you at? What were your thoughts?
I think at the time, best friend Kyle was up here, and he was staying with us because he was doing clinicals or rotations or whatever they call it for. And I think I may have come home from work and was kind of like chilling, and I got the phone call, I got the phone call from Tay, or the notification from Tay that, you know, the incident had happened where he fell, and so I was just like, where y'all gonna be at? And I know it felt like it wasn't real, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, you know, and like I always said, I was like, Biscuit, you can't be staying up late and doing all this, but I think I remember that moment sitting outside of my car, and I think Kyle had came up, and he was out there as well, and he said, and we both got the news, and it wasn't like he's holding on. It was kind of like, our boy gone. So we just.
So it happened pretty quick.
So
you got the call when he passed, or that something was wrong, or was it like?
The call was more like it had happened. Okay. But it was like still we didn't feel right not even trying to get up to Kentucky to go and see him. So we hopped in the car regardless and still try to make it, and with just hopes of like, you know, maybe they can, you know, revive him or something, or maybe they just, but yeah, it was so crazy and outrageous, and I just like, I remember calling my mom, and I was like, yo mom, like, Biscuit, you know what I'm saying, he passed away, and she knew, like I said, she knew who he was, she knew the respect and love I had for the guy, so she was like, stop playing with me, like, she didn't even take me serious, and it kind of hurt me. And she was like, stop playing with me. And I'm just like, I'm on the phone crying and boo-hooing like, bro, like I never even called and played about death, but maybe I guess I've been playing lately, but I never played about death. So, you know, she eventually caught on and was like, but yeah,
Do you have flashbacks of that day from time to time?
I think I just threw it away in my mind. I'll never forget the day, but it's like in the back of my mind, so I don't really
You don't focus on it.
It's nothing that can like trigger me to just think about the day unless I'm like intentionally asked or something like that. But yeah, I just never forget that scenery of going towards. I think it was in Hopkinsville, but maybe if I was to go back around them parts, I'd know exactly and feel it. But nah, it's
yeah. How has losing Biscuit affected you, if any?
Affected me. Affected me. It kind of made me appreciate life, appreciate relationships, because that was the first, as well as your mom. Like it was the first thing where it's like I saw forehand like that. Life and death is really not far off from each other. Like as sure as we live, we can die in an instant. Like, and so it really it changed me because I started to take heed. Of course, I backed away some, but I started to take heed of relationships. Like, there's no reason for me to be mad at a person, even though right now I'm battling some. But there's no reason for me to just harbor on something and not show a brother or anybody that I got a relationship with love, because you know what I'm saying, at the drop of a dime I can be gone, they can be gone. So it's like I really like to work things out, even though I'm not saying we was in a bad space, but just really honing in on relationships, because I feel like the only boy out of three girls out of 4 kids. I used to always be on my loner stuff, so you know, losing somebody that I was like a brother and like it was kind of like, dang. So to my other brothers, like, I'm not afraid to tell a man that I care about, like, I love you. Like, I don't care about this whole, you know, you gotta be tough. We don't say that. We just shake hands and dap and go on. But like, no, bro, if I say I love you and you can't accept it, you might need to work on that. Because I'm really telling you some true stuff. Like, I do love you. Like, love has no gender. Love has no race. Love is love. So,
Yeah. Are you familiar with survivor's guilt? Got tongue-tied there.
I know what survivor's guilt is.
For those listening or watching, just by definition, survivor's guilt is when a person feels guilty because they survived a life-threatening event that others did not.
Right.
So in so many words, like, how can I simplify this? You feel guilty for being here still alive and your loved one or loved ones are not here. Some people experience that. Would you say that you have experienced that, if at all?
Indeed. About a week or two prior to my boy Biscuit's passing, we was about to make a bet. And I think it was between me, him, and our boy Marcus. We call him Money Marcus. But we was all like, hey, if we put in a pot, whoever can get healthy, lose the most weight, you know, get on track, and whoever wins the pot of money. So in that instance, I feel a sense of survivor's guilt, because I'm like, you know, I was bigger than Biscuit. I was bigger than Biscuit. He was agile, and he was more active as far as like playing sports and the type of work he did. But I always have a sense of like, it could have been me, or why, you know what I'm saying? Why him? Because like, you know, he had kids, you know, and I always think about the kids. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's crazy. Now, in the sense of moms, as far as like survivor's guilt, I do get like, what could I have done more? You know, sometimes I harbor on like, I took chemistry, and I could have dove deeper into certain situations and tried to figure it out. And it's like, what could I have done more? Could I have been the one to spark her? Like, let's get up, let's just walk, or let's just do something, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a guilt of like, could I have done more? Which I know I did a great deal. But yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like you have properly grieved or dealt with losing Biscuit and your mother-in-law?
I cried. I mean, with those two losses, I just cried. I just cried and cried. Like I lost my grandma. I lost my grandma, my great uncle, but with those two losses, because I was so, I guess, so clear and close to the situations, you know, I did cry a lot. And that was my, I guess I would say, letting it out was a form of, like, facing that grief, but as well as, I feel like I handled it well because I know that going forward and not giving up because of these people that I hold near and dear in my heart, I feel like it keeps me going. Like even when I have my rough days, my not so good days, I kind of just sit back and be like, you know, it's some people I know would be rocking for me regardless and telling me to keep going. So why not keep going? You can't. So yeah, I think I handle grieving pretty well.
And you said you do cry. That's good. As a black man or as a man, when is the last time? Do you remember the last time you've cried? And when you cried, was it like a in private cry to yourself? Do you feel comfortable expressing yourself emotionally in front of people?
The last time I cried was probably a couple months, a month or two ago. And it's just because I just had a lot on my mind, and I went home to assist my mom who was going through her own little battles, and you know, just being there and knowing that I had to step up, and it really taught me unconditional love, and just seeing somebody you love in pain and hurting so bad, and you know, you can't, as much as I wish I can be, you know, that person to take the pain away, or as much as I look at my mom as she's Superwoman, but sometimes Superwoman gets hurt or wounded, and you know, you gotta show unconditional love, and just to see somebody cry in your arms and just in pain, and it just was, it was a lot. But that was about a month or two ago, and it was more of a, you know, I know to be strong around you or around her. I know to be strong around my people, but I did take a step away and just had to. Yeah, it was more in private.
Yeah, so as a man, we'll take black man out of it. We know that's a whole separate entity. Right. But as a man, do you feel like you're allowed to grieve in society in this world? Like, do you feel like it's okay for you to express yourself freely with your emotions? If you did, you know, you said you like to be strong typically for me. But do you feel comfortable, like, expressing, you know, hey, y'all, today's not a good day, or this is my feeling, I'm missing Biscuit, or missing my mother-in-law, or whatever. Do you feel?
I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like it's meant for a man, let alone a black man. I don't feel like it's accepted that we cry, or that we have those days, or that we tell people like, yo, this isn't my day. I feel like there's no leeway for us. And as much as I know a lot of people talk about mental health, and it's so over the internet, and it's so, I guess, oversaturated, which I guess if it's more and more in people's faces, maybe they can take a heed to it. But I still don't think people get it. I still don't think people grasp the fact that, like, sometimes you want to cry. Sometimes you want to yell out. Sometimes you just want to...
You're not strong all the time.
You're not strong all the time. Sometimes you just want to punch some shit. Excuse my language. You just want to punch some shit because, like, that's the only way you feel you can get some aggression out and not hurt somebody. But even if it's like being vulnerable, it's tough. It's tough because the one time you're vulnerable, it feels like somebody will use it against you. Well, he's weak. He big old sensitive dude. Like, it's one thing I've always gotten. Oh, Josh, you're just a teddy bear and blah, blah, blah. But a big old sensitive dude, they not trying to see that, because I feel like the world looks at me alone, at me as a bigger stature black man. The world looks at me as like this power, this dominant force. Like, and before they even critique my mind, they'll critique my size and, oh, you had to play football. Oh, you had to just be moving this type of weight or doing weight as in lifting. But
yeah, let's be clear, please.
Let's be clear. Weight as in lifting, but you have to be moving this type of way. And I'm human like everybody else. I'm a fun guy. I'm a smart guy. I'm an intelligent guy, and you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna shift it a little bit more. So there are, as you know, because we talk about this all the time, there are 5 basic stages of grief. Those stages, of course, for those that don't know, are denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. Which have you experienced, if any, and do you mind giving any examples?
Say it again.
So there's 5 stages of grief. With losing Biscuit and Mom, have you experienced either denial with their death, so not believing, like, nah, man, like, I can't, it's not true? Well, you kind of answered that earlier with Biscuit, like, it was kind of hard for you to feel that, or anger, like you're angry that they're gone, depression since they've left, bargaining is like, man, what if I could have just did this? I know he would have did, maybe God would have kept him or her here, or acceptance, and like, they're gone, but I accept that they're no longer here.
I think the biggest was denial, of course. Like, I know this ain't true. This ain't happened. I always did that. Even if when I broke my mama's windshield and I was in denial, like, I know this didn't happen. Let me just go in here. And this is the same thing. I know this is the same feelings that went into my thought process when I experienced both of those deaths. I was like, this is my coping mechanism. Like, let me just go to sleep
and it'll go away.
And it'll go away. Like, this is just a dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, denial was a big one in the beginning, but denial, it subsided quickly. Like, after I wake up and I know it's real, it's real. Bargaining, that's the biggest thing. Like, I talked about it earlier in this session, but bargaining was the biggest thing. Like, what if I? Like, what if I told him, let's do this? Or what if I was there to tell him, hey, let's not play basketball this day. Let's go and do this. Or, like I said with Mom, like, what if I told her, like, let's get moving around a little bit more, because I guess a little in depth, I was thinking about the whole blood clot situation. So it's like, what if I told her more, like, come on, let's just walk to the driveway. Like, let's just do that. Let's just do this, because, she was tired, and just sitting up was just like, it was a little bit. Sitting up and not moving around it's a scary.
Yeah, that's bad for your health also. That I don't think a lot of people realize.
Right.
So yeah.
That's why in desk jobs, like, a lot of people are like, man, I don't want a desk job because now I'm not getting that movement, that blood flow. Like, it's a real thing. So
yeah.
Bargaining, and I think it was
acceptance.
Acceptance came around quick because, acceptance was something my mom she raised me with, is like, I'm not gonna always be here. And even when I was younger, she'd be like, if I die today or tomorrow, you better step up and be the man and be a man, and you keep going and you keep. So acceptance, and she was always like, do better than me. So acceptance is like, I know they're gone. I know it was 2 loving spirits, but I accepted the fact, and I accepted that, me as Joshua, I'm gonna accept that, and I'm gonna try and push and strive. And when I do have those days of feeling a little groggy or something, just think about those 2 spirits, those 2 lights. Like, those 2 people were selfless. If I could say selfless in some individuals that wasn't my mom or, my family, those 2, my blood family, like, those 2 people showed, like, they just wore their heart outside their body for anybody. So.
Okay. So this is another one. What are your thoughts about therapy as a man or as a black man?
Therapy. I went to therapy before, and I went to university. It was just an incident, and I can tell you, the therapy session went great. Like, it was cool, and I was going on some combative, like, I need to take steps for the incident that was going on. And Jess was kind of in there lollygagging, but we ended up getting into some stuff, and the university actually provided this for free. So that was my first introduction to therapy, which was actually ended up being something great. Now for the sake of the university seeing me having to go through these steps because of the strain and things that they were putting me through in the situation, They didn't take it serious, and I didn't like that. So the question is
just your thoughts on therapy.
My thoughts on therapy.
It can be in terms to grief.
My thoughts on therapy is it's good. It is. If you struggle with grief, if you struggle with, I feel like that acceptance. If you struggle with that acceptance and bargaining, like if you struggle with any of it, therapy is good. Now, my only thing with therapy, because like I said, therapy, mental health is so mainstream now. It's so mainstream now, and it's so. What am I trying to say?
Commercialized.
It's so commercialized, and it's dang near becoming like very money grabbing. In some instances, my biggest thing is with therapy, to the people that are gonna go or want to pursue it, know that it's there for tools so you can keep going. Know that it's not a crutch. It's not a we do this forever out of life. Like it's learn from it, move forward, and when different problems arise, like, revisit it, but don't just use it to be like, okay, I gotta run into this. That's my whole thing. And, my opinion, I'm entitled to my opinion, and that's my opinion about it, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, but I think people should know, go to therapy, take what you can take from it, and if the problem re-arises on a more extreme level or a new problem arises, okay, go back to it, but don't hold on too much talking about the same thing over and over, because I feel like it'll hinder your progression and your understanding in this life. And life is all about understanding and moving forward. So we can't harbor on the past too much.
So would you choose therapy? And this is honest. We keep it raw on this podcast. For yourself, do you feel like you would need therapy for those two losses that you've experienced?
I don't think I need therapy. Like I said, I'm very good at acceptance, and I think I take a lot of steps to understanding myself, even if it's just sitting and listening to my thoughts. I'm good at meditation, actually. I need to be more consistent and disciplined with it, but I'm very good at meditation. Also, I do things like take a walk, take a hike. I'm doing better in the gym. But do I feel like I need therapy, or what that was the question?
In terms to help you with the grieving?
Nah, I don't feel like I need it. And I think the biggest thing is like I said, the biggest thing in life is understanding. So whatever situation, I just take that situation, dissect it, understand it, and once I understand it, I move forward. The past is the past. Even though I'm not going to say I'm perfect, because in the other aspects of life, I still look at my past like, oh man, but I know you have to move forward, because if you don't, the world doesn't stop. It just keeps, as they say, it keeps spinning and spinning. It keeps moving, because it could be flat.
Not because it could be flat. Okay, so we almost done. But what do you feel you need to be able to properly grieve? So, in other words, what do you need from your support system, which is me or your friends or people who love you? What do you feel like you need, if anything, on your grieving journey?
The biggest thing you need is space and understanding. You need space and understanding. Like, you don't need to be crowded by friends just trying to be there and be in that space. You need time to be, I feel like, in solitude to process the things that have went on. As far as me, I can only speak for me, but I feel like solitude is needed so you can, and understanding. So understanding is a big thing. So to those friends, understand that I'm not upset at you. Understand that I just need this space so I can understand the whole situation and I can dissect and move forward. I think my homeboy Brandon, he lost his mom. We was in college. I think it was like our second or third year in college, and he lost his mom, and I really saw a shift in him. And that shift was he wasn't too, how can I say, like we was so tight growing up and stuff, but he was kind of standoffish. And of course it was new to me and new to my other homeboys, but we was like, man, he acting different. But then I had to realize he needed his space. He needed his space to understand himself, understand the situation. And when your mom passed away, I seen it again where you kind of took a back seat, like, yo, all this friend stuff kind of gotta chill. I don't want to kind of be on the scene, but you was just getting your space to understand the situation, understand where you want to go, understand then how to move through this new world. Because when this stuff happens, it's Disney. It's a whole new world. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is true. So you feel like you need understanding and space from your support system.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. What is, and maybe we talked about this a little bit, but what do you feel is the hardest part about grieving the losses of Biscuit and your mother-in-law? Is there something that's like, oh, this is the hardest part? Like, I wish they was here because this is just hard.
I guess the hardest part is like advice from those two people, or you know, their take on certain situations that transpire. Because in the case of Mom's and like your family dynamic, she was very much the backbone. She wasn't afraid to put somebody in her place. From what we heard from people that worked with her, she wasn't afraid to do it at work. Lady. She wasn't afraid to do it at home. She wasn't afraid to do it with her own family, like her own bloodline. Like, even if it meant she got to say it and she got to take a back seat and be like, we ain't got to talk for a minute, but she'll say it. And then it's just like seeing how they operate in those different spaces. Like, even with my boy Biscuit, like some of the stuff, like hearing him, he was very supportive of me. Like, it was crazy. Like I said, this was a dude I met in college because of my fraternity, and he was kind of more supportive than some people back at home. Like, and you know what I'm saying? At times, I used to want to give up on like doing leadership roles and stuff. He like, nah, Josh, you can't do it. I remember one time I was just being mischievous, just about to do some dumb stuff as a college student. Like, I'm just gonna take this, I ain't gonna pay for it. And he was like, nah, bro, that ain't how you do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't get nothing from that, but he'll be in my ear about keep going. Like, nah, bro, you doing some great stuff. Like, I got Husky cheesecakes, and I bet you, with those two people alive right now, I would be so much further because they would put it on their backs. That's how selfless they were. They would put it on their backs, and they would be like, "Oh, you doing this? I like this." Both of them like to eat. I like this. Hey, we finna run it. Like, I know his post on social media would have been something crazy. He would have been ready to be in a video with me. I know moms would go to the job and talk that smack.
Everybody at the hospital.
My boy, he makes the best cheesecake. It's good too. You need to try it. And her influence, would have been, you know what I'm saying? But I lost that, so that's the biggest thing. I just kind of, like, that's the hardest part. It's like, I lost some of my support system, some of my, like I say, unconditional love. A lot of people throw the word out and they don't understand it, but it's like, those two people, like, they showed me unconditional love as a stranger or just a newcomer into their lives. So when I lost them, I lost some of that unconditional love and support system that, you know what I'm saying, usually you only get from your mom. In my instance, you only get from your mom or your dad, you know, granted they're in your life and very active in your life, but that's what I lost. And that's what I kind of be like, I just kind of, sometimes I want to throw up and just be like, this ain't fair. Yeah. This ain't fair, but that's the craziest thing.
Yeah. I know another part of losing some people in your life, if there is somebody that's close to you, is suicidal thoughts. That's a common thing. Have you ever had suicidal thoughts as a result to losing Biscuit or Mom?
No, I wouldn't say no suicidal thoughts. I would say I could feel myself slipping into like a dark depression, if anything. But suicidal thoughts, nah, because like I said, I always reference them, and I can just hear them being like, heck no, like that ain't even an option, buddy. Yeah. You might as well get back on the horse, the wagon, and get to moving. So, nah, not suicidal thoughts. And I guess if we talk about it, with kind of the pressures and not being able to express yourself, we talk about, could I express myself in the world and be vulnerable in the world and not be so strong all the time? On that front of not being able to kind of express myself sometimes, I have. But it's nothing that I don't feel like I can get that I will let take over me and consume me. So.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, not normalize it, because please do not take your life. But I think that a lot of people deal with suicidal thoughts on a regular. It's a part of life. Life is crazy sometimes. So to say that the thought has never crossed your mind is like you're lying, because life gets hard sometimes. So I definitely feel that. If you were to give any advice to other men who are suffering the loss of someone close to them, what would you say to them, for those who may not know how to handle it or know what to say?
The only thing I feel like I would say is don't give up, bro. Don't give up. Giving up, your world doesn't stop because someone is no longer here. At most, it should intensify. At most, it should push you to go harder. I know it hurts. It does hurt. But when it hurts, find somebody that'll listen. It's wild. Somebody will listen. And, of course, I'm married. And you'll listen. But also, I got my homeboy, Ray. He'll listen. Even, like, somebody will listen to you. Even mom, she'll listen when she can listen, because she got other kids to tend to. But they'll listen, but you gotta put that pride to the side and be willing to tell them. Yeah. And sometimes some of them can handle this, some of them can handle that type of conversation. Not everything I can tell. I can tell Ray certain things I can't tell you, and you know what I'm saying. But somebody, if you gotta make up a list of who can listen to this, if it's work, or who can listen to this, if it's love, who can listen to this, do it. Somebody will listen. And the biggest thing is finding them people who are unbiased and the ones who will call you out on your BS. Like, sometimes I got called out like, nah, you BS, and like, you ain't giving it your all, or you know what I'm saying, you stressing, you bringing this on yourself, and you know what I'm saying. So the biggest thing is to never feel like, I guess, I don't know, just never feel like nobody listen. You can talk.
Don't feel like you're a burden.
Yeah, don't. And if you are a burden, if you are a burden, and somebody's like, oh damn, bro, damn, bro, you calling me on this, then hey, that person, that ain't the person for you. You manage them people. You scoot them to the side. And you like, okay, I won't go to you on that again, or I won't even. And when they start saying you pull away, you find you somebody else who can hear or will listen. But also, don't be a burden. Don't constantly, like I said, we always got to move forward. We always got to, okay, the past has happened. What are we going to actively work to move forward and progress and focus on the now, right here, right now?
And a big part of that is also, because it's not that people don't want to be there for you, but sometimes people have other things going on. So maybe try, to your point, asking your loved one, hey, do you have space for me to vent to you today? Because it may not be that they don't care. They just don't have the capacity right now.
Right.
So definitely understand that. So we're going to close this out with the last question.
Right.
So the last question, if you could say anything to Biscuit and to Mom, what would it be? So look into the camera and say it to them.
Anything to say to y'all is, it goes to both of y'all, man. I love y'all and I miss y'all. Like, I don't even think people understand. Like, y'all were great to me. Like, I felt like y'all were family. I really take heed to the whole saying that family is who, it's not always blood, it's kind of who you adopt and you pick up along the way, and y'all was like a mother figure and a brother figure that I wouldn't trade for the world. And if I could come up there and just visit y'all, I would. And I'd stay for months on time just to kick it with y'all, just to see y'all again, and just to hear y'all tell me on how to get better with my businesses and how to get better and with being a husband, a friend, or just being a better Josh. Because I really took heed to the things y'all said, to the things we did together, from watching Food Network Moms, you knew the channel off the back of your hand, to Me and Big Biscuit yelling out Big Biscuit 400, Big Josh 400, like all the crazy stuff we did in college, man. I miss y'all to the moon and back. And hey, if there's anything I can do to get y'all back, don't think I ain't gonna try to do it, man. But you know what I'm saying? That's a conversation with God.
Okay. Well, thank you, Josh, so much for your time. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to my audience, those who are listening or watching on YouTube or on my audio platform. Thank you guys again for the I Lost My podcast. And this is it. We'll see y'all in the next episode.
Well, what about my song? You told me to have a couple songs.
You're right. So, what would, bonus question, my bad, I'm messing up, I'm getting new to this. Is there a song that would describe them? Or that comes to mind when you think of both of them?
For Moms, I'm sorry, That's On Me, Baby. Just because she just wanted to sing that song. I don't know why it was
Didn't know the lyrics.
She didn't know the lyrics, but all she knew was That's On Me, Baby. And every time we would pass by the place where her earthly body rests, it would be on the radio. Literally. So I'm like, I do not know how this is happening. It's kind of spooky, but...
And that's On Me, Baby by Yellow Beezy.
Yeah. But for Big Biscuit, man, that's some crazy ones. I remember the day that it happened. The song by, I think it's called Boogeyman by... what's his name? Childish Gambino. Mm-hmm. But anyway, somehow the song goes, "My baby boy." I kind of cried. Listen, I'll never forget those lyrics. Mm-hmm. But a song I can never forget is the Jumpman, man. Just because we had the coldest freestyle ever.
Jumpman. Don't worry about it. We're going to insert it at the end of this clip.
With that being said, hey, we're going to put that clip in here because y'all need to see that freestyle. Excuse the language, but...
Jumpman, Biscuit on the beat. Woo! Jumpman, get up out your seat. Woo! Jumpman, what is on that feet? Woo! Jumpman, Biscuit in his teeth. Woo!
I don't got no cheat meals. Jumpman, get up out your seat.
Hey.
But yeah, that's my songs. That's it, right?
All right, yep, that's it. Thanks, y'all.
So appreciate y'all for having me.
See y'all on the next episode.